Who's going to start for Texas at quarterback? I think we've got a pretty good answer about that going ahead. How's it going to matter for Oklahoma? What can they do? We'll discuss coming up next on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, so it's going to be Quinn Ewers starting for the Texas Longhorns this week, coming off an abdominal injury, and that's going to be interesting to follow. Is he fully healthy? Is he still dealing with any pain in his abdomen? If you've ever strained your abdomen, ever had abdominal surgery of any, you know how much your abdomen is involved in everything you do, from dropping back, taking a snap, throwing the football, trying to run. Your abs are
breathing,
breathing, every hit you take. Again, I don't know where Quinn Ewers is at with that, but if he's even dealing with a little bit of pain, that could be a factor in this game. I'm not going to sit here and say that Quinn Ewers is a better matchup for Oklahoma's defense than Arch Manning is. I will say he's not as athletic as Arch. And so that, I think, creates an opportunity for Oklahoma's defense to be able to get to him on the pass rush, maybe a little bit more simply than maybe getting to Arch. Quinn Ewers is a good quarterback. He can throw the ball. He's very experienced at this point in his career. He can make every single throw in the arsenal. And so it is going to be a tough test. But we saw it a year ago. Oklahoma's pressure packages could get to Quinn at different times. And we've seen Zach Alley even dial it up a little bit further. And so as we talked about in the first segment for Oklahoma's defense, if they can get to Quinn early and they can get to him quick, that's going to completely throw everything off in the Texas passing attack.
Yeah, and with Quinn having that abdominal injury, right? Breathing, walking, talking, all of that stuff, you can feel that in your abdomen. I mean, do it now. Just put your hand there, and when you start talking or breathing, you can feel the tense, the way your abs and your core tenses up while you do that. So it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. The biggest thing is that mobility, right? You mentioned it, that Arch Manning is much more mobile. We've watched him run. I mean, I think he had 21 miles per hour when he sprinted down the sideline for a touchdown in one of the games that Texas played. And the kid's very athletic. He's like the most athletic Manning that you probably ever gonna
Of
see
all
outside of
time.
Arch, right? Outside of Arch, he's like his grandfather Arch
Yeah.
more than anything than he is Peyton and Eli. There's no shade to them. They'll tell you the same thing. They've always said that they're slow, but Arch has a lot more of that speed. And so for him, the biggest thing is going to be if they decide, because they're going to play Quinn in this game instead of Arch, they're going to have to make sure that he is very much protected. Now, this Texas offensive line is better, but our defensive line is too, right? Our front seven is probably our strongest piece. And so if we don't give him much time, if we make sure that the pocket collapses a lot earlier than they are ready for, he's gonna have to do some moving. And when he gets to moving, I don't think the game plan is gonna be as good as they want. Now, they're probably gonna be leveraging a lot of check downs and stuff similar to what they did when we played them last year. As long as our front seven and our linebackers are prepared for that, watch that film and be prepared to, pick off a few of those passes. Again, we should be good to go when it comes to this game.
Yeah. Brent Venables on his radio show kind of mentioned that Oklahoma's got a Jacoby Johnson package for this weekend. And I think that could be interesting to watch. We'll see how significant it is because it's going to be his first time playing wide receiver since high school, but he's got all the tools in the toolbox to be a successful wide receiver. And as we've talked about at different times, you need a little bit more size on the outside, and Jacoby Johnson brings that.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think one thing they didn't want to do was put too much film, put much tape out there of him playing in different packages or in different plays when we played against Auburn. Because I mean, luckily enough, we did not need him at the end of the game. We were able to pull everything out. But at this point, you kind of need to go all stops in this one, and then from there you can start to tier up or down based upon how you feel the team is going. I think Michael Hawkins has done nothing but improve week over week. And because of that, I can see them using him a lot more in comparison to what they were doing before. And so I know that, Sooner fans are a little concerned going into this game. And I totally get that. Right. We're still ranked in the top 25, which is a plus. And for us, the bigger thing is that our defense is really who we've leaned on. And I've mentioned this numerous times. I'm going to keep saying that ad nauseum. this is what we're going to have to do. We're going to lean on this defense, and then we're going to let the offense kind of bring it when they need to. And then I think that we'll have a good showing against Texas on the offensive side. So my concerns are kind of tapered down as far as this being, us getting blown out. I think the big difference is Texas really believes that they're going to be able to go out. I actually had a buddy of mine that's a Texas fan, another content creator. He believes it's going to be like 52-17. He thinks Texas is going to go out there and just destroy this defense. And it's obvious he's never really paid attention to the way Brent Venables does defenses in his third year. It's never that easy. Yes, the like I said, the secondary is susceptible to deep passes. We watched Auburn do it, but you got to also have the time to do it. And again, Quinn dealing with the abdomen. If we put enough pressure on him and we get enough hits on him, it's going to be tough for him to be able to continue throughout the game because our linemen like to hit the quarterback or be as disruptive as possible. I'm sensing that they're going to stick to the check down. They're going to stick to the shorter plays and take what's given to them. But I don't see them really going. They're going to go deep a few times. They've got to test out the depth and test out the secondary a lot. But I think we're going to have some players out there that's going to surprise people that are going to be prepared for all the deep passes.
Yeah, it's going to be a very physical game. A bigger aspect of this is going to be the injury status of some of your wide receivers. And Brent Venables spoke about that in his radio show on Monday night on Deion Burks. He said, we'll see where Burks is the next couple of days. He was unavailable for the Auburn game. How much of an impact does it make if Deion Burks is available for this one?
Oh, it's huge, right? Because we all know that he's a deep threat. We also know that he's a threat in space. He's a threat in the jet sweep. I know. Don't kill me. He's a threat there. He's a threat everywhere. So he's one of those players that you would love to have on the field just because now Texas has to account for somebody that is talented. Granted, if he is injured and then not just hurting, you don't want him on the field. You want him to be out and you want him to get rest up so you can leverage him for the rest of the season. It's been unfortunate for us in the wide receiver room that everybody gets hit with the bug. And yeah, we'll just have to ride with it based upon how it goes. So to me, having Burks would be huge, but at the same time, we can really put to work the Jaquez Pettaways of the world and some of the younger players, the ones that Texas really they haven't paid much attention to on film. They're focused on, the bigger name players who probably won't play for the rest of the year. He did talk about Andrew Anthony as well, and mentioned that he had another small procedure, which that's Sooner fans why you haven't seen Andrew over the last couple weeks. Sounds like something was kind of going on with that knee, maybe something floating. And he's expected back in a couple of weeks. And then Jalil Farouk's going to get that boot off. And so if he's going to get that boot off, now all you guys do is get into a little bit of game shape, which he could probably play his way back into shape. I doubt that he was just sitting around doing nothing. Probably was on the bike, keeping that wind going. And so if you get Farouk back, later in the season with with an Andrew Anthony, if he's feeling better, you feel a lot better about this room.
Yeah, you got to have Deion Burks this week. I'll feel a whole lot more comfortable about where Oklahoma's going
Same.
if you have Deion Burks available. I do think that everything continues to improve offensively, but he's such a game changer, man. He just makes so many good things happen for you in your offense every time he touches the ball. So get him back in the offense, get him with Michael Hawkins, get Michael Hawkins an opportunity to play with Deion Burks because he really hasn't had that because Deion Burks got dinged up in the Tennessee game and missed much of the second half. So you get him back. And I think it helps to open some things up a little bit in the offense for the Oklahoma Sooners. It's going to be a fun one, man. It always is. Just the environment, the atmosphere, everything that goes into the Red River Showdown down in the Cotton Bowl at the State Fair of Texas. It's going to be fantastic viewing experience for those in attendance, for those watching on TV, and we'll have so much more coverage for you this week here on Locked On Sooners. We will have our crossover show with Jonathan Davis of Locked On Longhorns for you Thursday. We'll have our keys to the game and predictions coming at you on Friday. We'll continue to follow all of the injury reports along the way. So make sure you're tuned in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms as well as YouTube. So hit that notification bell and that subscribe button over there to let you know when new episodes drop. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports. You can also tune into his channel, Unfair Sports, over on YouTube as well. Follow me at John 9 Williams, and you can read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. You can follow the show show at Locked On Sooners on all the social media platforms as well. But until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. We'll talk to you then. Boomer.
Sooner.